How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Monday afternoon. Today's topic that I want to discuss is how to pick your first motorcycle. Now, this isn't going to be specifically tailored to one specific series of bike or classification of motorcycle at all. It's going to be just what I've experienced. I've only been riding for about a year. My first bike was a 2011 Kawasaki Ninja 250, and I recently upgraded to a 2019 Harley-Davidson Iron 883. So I know a little something about looking for your first bike, and it's fresh in my mind. Now, the reason my first bike was the Ninja was because it kind of fell in my lap. I came across somebody that was selling this bike very, very cheap, and it was wrecked, so it was almost perfect for me to learn on, being my first bike. So I picked it up super cheap, like I said, and I learned to ride on it. Now, not long after that, I found myself kind of bored with riding. I didn't much care for the bike I had because I didn't pick it. Technically, it picked me. So after a while, I went and sat on some other sport bike style motorcycles, and I didn't find anyone that really was comfortable for me or what I was really looking for. So it was pretty clear at that point that I wasn't a sport bike kind of guy. I wanted something a little bit more comfy, like a cruiser style, like this Harley here. Now, people would argue that the Iron 883 is a good starter bike, and looking at the experience I had, it would not have been a good starter bike for me just because of how much they cost. I didn't want to start out on a bike that was worth, you know, $4,000 or $5,000. I wanted to start on a bike that was $2,000 or under. So what you'll find in that $2,000 and under range is a lot of older bikes, most of the time with higher mileage. And there's nothing wrong with that, guys. You're here to learn. You're buying that bike to find out even if you like riding. There's nothing saying that you'll get a motorcycle and you'll love to ride. Some people just don't. So I saw a lot of older Suzuki cruisers when I was looking for my first motorcycle before the Ninja fell in my lap. I saw a lot of Yamahas. I saw a lot of older Ninjas, things like that. And none of them really stood out to me, so I put off buying my first bike. And then all of a sudden the Ninja landed in my lap, and it was almost like I didn't have a choice. I got into that bike for about $600 all said and done. Ran well, drove well. I had no complaints about the bike except it wasn't what I wanted. But I am blessed to have fallen upon that deal because I got to learn how to ride, and it hardly cost me anything. I mean, insurance on that bike was $145 per year. So in the beginning, I would recommend not spending a whole lot until you decide if you even like this lifestyle. It's really what it is. It's a lifestyle. You'll find yourself looking at the weather every day, crossing your fingers that you'll get to ride. That's what I find myself doing a lot. So if you have the expendable income, you know you're gonna like it. Maybe you've ridden somebody's bike before and you just fell in love, okay? So you're okay with spending a little extra money. I would go look at, touch, feel, listen to, sit on, everything you could think of. I would do that to as many bikes as I could. As many as I could. If you're hell-bent on buying from a dealership, that might actually be easier because you can go to a dealership that offers Suzuki, Yamaha, Kawasaki, all of those under one roof. And I would go check them out, and I would sit on everything that was in that showroom. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. You found the bike you want, it's in your price range, and you're happy, you're ready to sign the papers. Pump the brakes 1 second, okay? There's a lot of other things we have to consider. What's it going to cost to insure that bike? I want you to shop around and see if you can find good insurance rates on that motorcycle. If it's within your price range, and it's cheap to insure, or, you know, and it doesn't have to be cheap. If it's within your budget to insure, you're not going to be scraping around to find money to pay your motorcycle insurance, then you're on the right track. Next important financial tip for buying a motorcycle. The price of the motorcycle and the insurance are not the only financial responsibilities that you have at the time of purchase. You're going to need a helmet, you're going to need a jacket, you're going to need gloves, you're going to need boots. Some of you guys might want to get riding pants. These are all things you have to consider. I would at least minimum helmet and gloves. Currently that's all I'm sporting, helmet and gloves. Do I think it's a good idea? Hell no. I think it's always a great idea to be in full gear, no matter what. If it's 110 degrees outside, put your summer gear on, guys. There's winter coats, or winter jackets, and there's summer jackets. Buy one of each. And my next point, don't settle. Do not settle for a bike you don't want. If you don't absolutely love that thing, don't buy it. Did I absolutely love my Ninja when I bought it? No. And what happened? I barely rode it. I rode it enough to realize that I loved to ride, but it was so uncomfortable for me that I hardly ever rode it. And when I would get home, my back would be in pain. It's not a good experience. You're not going to have fun unless you're on the bike you want to be on, or that at least fits you well. And my last recommendation, I actually don't know if this is going to be my last or not, but I'm saying last right now. My last recommendation is going to be to take a motorcycle safety course. Have I done that yet? No. Do I want to? Yes. I'm very eager to learn more about being a motorcyclist. I want to go with somebody that's had some experience and go through a class so they can tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing right. Now, I've heard guys say to go out and buy a 250 as your starter bike no matter what. I don't technically agree with that. I've also heard guys say go out and buy the biggest bike that you can afford. I don't agree with that either. I'm a firm believer that the bike chooses you. You're gonna sit on one. This, I assure you, is going to happen. If you do like I said, and you go and you sit on all these bikes, there's gonna be one that really stands out. It's gonna fit you, it's gonna hug you, you're gonna want to take it home immediately. That's what you want to look for, guys. Look for something you're gonna be happy with. I want you to be happy with riding. I want you to get out here and enjoy it with the rest of us. But it's important that you follow some simple guidelines when you're getting started. Listen to the guys that have been there and done it. The reason I make this video, guys, is because my dad is currently looking for his first motorcycle. And you know, anybody can start this at any point in time in life. Don't ever think you're too old to start being a motorcyclist and getting out here and enjoying the wind and the roadway with the rest of us. I recently took my dad to the dealership that I bought this bike from and had him sit on a ton of motorcycles. Just about everything they had there, except for the big old baggers. You know, that's probably not a good idea to start on. So we sat on a bunch of bikes and we looked at a bunch of different bikes. Like I was saying, we sat on a bunch and looked at a bunch. He found one he really liked, but it was out of his price range. And guys, that's gonna happen. You're gonna find a bike you love and it's out of your price range. Me and Dad are looking at bikes. He sat on a bunch and checked out the used bikes, checked out the new bikes. Well, we didn't pull the trigger on anything because there wasn't anything there that just screamed at him. There's another dealership about 45 minutes away from my house that had a yellow Sportster with all kinds of like trick graphics on it, right? It kind of looked like an old Plymouth hot rod paint job, and you know, that's what I thought of when I first saw it. And he kept saying that, well, this bike doesn't look as cool or doesn't feel as good as that yellow one. This bike doesn't look as good or feel as good as that yellow one. That yellow bike was calling to him. And then you know what we did? We took a ride up to that dealership and he didn't buy the yellow one. Once he sat on the yellow one again, he didn't like it as much as he remembered liking it. It's gonna be a fiasco if you do it right. That's fucking cool. It's gonna be a little bit of a trouble. You're gonna rack your brain. I racked my brain for a whole year before I bought my iron, and I still have my Ninja. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but it's a process. It's not like buying a car, okay? If you want a Pontiac Grand Am, you just go on Craigslist and buy a Pontiac Grand Am. Pontiac Grand Am fits everybody. Okay, so I'm going to basically run this back in no particular order because I might have talked in circles and confused some of you. One, I'd recommend buying a used bike. If you want to buy a new bike, that's on you. I'm not your daddy. Do what you want to do. Number two, consider all the financials. You need to consider the price of the bike, the cost to insure the bike, and the price of all your gear. And don't go cheap on gear, guys. Gear's going to save your life if you happen to go down. Alright folks, that's probably all I have time for in this video today. My GoPro battery is probably going to die. So if you found this video informative or liked it in any way, go ahead and like the video. If you hated it and felt like it was trash, go ahead and thumb it down. But if you feel like you want to hang out and check out some more of my content, I plan on making tons of videos for you guys and probably having a couple laughs along the way. If that sounds like a good idea to you, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Every one of you guys really do mean a lot to me. I love that I can make videos and help everybody out as much as I can. And when you guys subscribe and like my videos, that lets me know that I'm doing a hell of a job. So, thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye.